Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Efren Luna with the Cultural Alliance of Long Beach and with Art, Music, and Culture. So today we have a painting class. This is a free online art class where we paint live. We've been doing this since the beginning of the pandemic, now just over a year. So every Friday between 4 and 5, I usually start a live stream where people can watch and follow along. Follow along if you're ready. All you need is maybe a pencil, eraser to do our initial drawing, and then we're going to start painting. Acrylic paint is better, but use whatever materials you have. These classes are really easy for anyone to follow along. They're not necessarily for professionals, or these classes that I do online are designed so that anyone can follow along from home. So if the video is a little bit glitchy, it'll get better once I switch cameras and turn one of my cameras off. So bear with me, guys. As you can see, I have a plant here in front of me. So this is a bamboo plant. You don't have to have the same plant that I'm doing. You can do flowers, anything that's organic. I recommend something simple, or depending on your skill level. If you like, for instance, I chose something very simple. Bamboos are just green sticks, right? I'm gonna take liberty in adding things later on, but I'm gonna use this as inspiration. I do have a glass vase full of rocks with water. I may change the colors on these things to make it more interesting. Definitely not going to be a realistic painting, but it's going to be inspired by something realistic, and we'll see how that goes along. If you can't see the image, my image, and you don't have a reference at home, you can pull up an image. If you want to do something similar, you can pull up an image from your phone or your tablet, some bamboo, nice long. You can get an idea, or just follow along as I paint. But you're welcome to use your own a physical source or a picture of that you can find. All right, folks. So I'm gonna switch cameras and get right to it. Let me take away the stickers. I didn't realize they were there. Let's see. Okay. So now we have our, let me put the plan here. As you can see, it's nice and long. It's from an aerial view, but we're not going to paint it from this perspective, although it'll be interesting. Definitely will be interesting. But I need the room. Anyways, you can do any perspective you want. So I'm going to put it off to the side. Maybe it'll give you time to research an image, or even like a branch from one of your plants, something green, it's or something simple. The size of canvas that I'm using, 16 by 20, nothing too big, but just a little bigger than, but whatever you have, right? Whatever you have is fine. These canvases are nice. Today I'm using like new quality. I started painting in sets of 2, just because they kind of are better for, like, if you want to decorate your home or whatever, or give them as a gift. You have the set, right? So I haven't decided on my composition, but this is going to be my surface. So it's going to be two images, and this is a format or a style, or a diptych, which is 2 images that make up one. I'll show you something similar, not in the image, but in kind of like where you connect them and is one piece, right? Where you show one, or exhibit one, or display one, right, or the other, and you have 2 separate artworks, but they work as one as well, and you can display at home like this way. Anyway, so let's get to it. I know you guys are waiting. Sorry for the delay. technical difficulties. A little bit of a shadow here in the studio. That's okay. So bear with me. Okay, so I'm gonna just draw. I'm gonna draw two pieces. Maybe it'll be like a set, something simple like this. So I'm gonna use my canvas horizontal, and there you go. Put a little light right here to. There's a shadow here. It's kind of bothering me, folks. Let me try something with the lighting. All right, hopefully that helps. Well, let me start drawing and see how it looks. All right, so I have my plant, all right, and it's basically, so I'm gonna do the vase. The vase is kind of like a diamond, so you probably don't want to do it right in the middle, and I'm kind of drawing backwards. I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you. In fact, let me see if I can bring down the camera just a little bit. There you go. A little better. All right, so this is facing you, right? So if you do a visual X on any canvas, if you do a visual X, you can write it if you want, but if you were to mark an X, right where the two lines meet would be the center, right? You can put a little dot there just for reference. So I'm gonna make the vase just below the center. My vase is kind of like a square. It's actually a square shaped vase. So I'm gonna do like a triangle. I'm actually drawing backwards so you can see better. There you go. And let me turn one of my cameras off that I don't need. Okay, let's see. All right. So hopefully that gives a better reception. All right, just ignore the shadows if it's. All right, let's see. So we have a triangle. You want to draw kind of like a triangle, right? A diamond shape. A diamond shape. There you go. You can see that. And then if you have an eraser, so I'm going to make mine a little short because I want to stay within the page or within the surface. Let's see. So you're kind of drawing like a cube. And don't worry about erasing or marks don't worry. This is not about the drawing as much as the painting that we're gonna make. So if your drawing is rough and it has a lot of marks, so the base is basically, think of a cube, but more of a here. Let me see. Actually, let me put that right here, right? So it's like it's pretty long, right? So it's not like, and the view that you're getting is not what I'm painting exactly, but I'll kind of leave it there for reference. All right, so the top kind of like a diamond shape, and I have to readjust my drawing. I had made it too big in the beginning, and I ran out of room. Um, all right, so far it feels like it's gonna be two separate paintings that I'm just gonna do. Maybe it'll be one. I'm not sure yet, but right now we're working on one. So here's the base. All right, I kind of feel pretty comfortable with this shape. Let me get a Sharpie so you can see. Yeah, let me get a Sharpie so you can see the drawing. Okay, then I'll turn it. So you're watching this upside down, but don't worry, I'll show you in a minute. So this is I'll flip it up, right side up. So check it out. So here's a nice little geometric shape. So if you're into math and things like that, you're probably familiar with doing something like this. So this is a nice little, not necessarily a box, but I forgot the term for this, but this is kind of like a cube, but it's like longer, right? So it's like the three-dimensional, the 3D form of a rectangle, right? So I'll leave that up. If you're following along, that's what you're painting. The next thing is we're gonna fill in this little the rocks, right? We're not gonna copy every single one of them. They're all different, right? They're all different in size and in color and things like that. But before I forget, actually, let me draw. I'm gonna draw a line, like it's gonna be the water line. So I'm gonna draw like another line. Maybe just a little bit below, and I'll show you what that looks like. Then that one you can draw wavy because that's the water. Let's see. Let me turn that this way so you can see. So you can see that's my vase. It's not perfect, but you can see there's two lines at the top. This wavier line, or this line that's not a straight line. That's kind of like wavy. It's the water. I'm exaggerating. The line is not a straight line. It bends because of the rocks, the shapes of the rocks. But it's okay to exaggerate. When we're taking liberty and creative expression. So this is your vase. The next thing is to draw all these little rocks, and I can't really turn it, but just follow along. So let me see if I can. There you go. So you're just gonna below. Make sure you draw the rocks below the water. So think of that wavy line as water, right? And just draw like little shapes, like circles, like pebbles. These are rocks. These are river rocks, like those little river rocks they sell at the, I don't know, the 99-cent store or whatever they sell them. For plants. Try to avoid the rocks being too perfect or too round, because then they may seem like a little bit too fake. Just kind of. That's my mistake right here. They're kind of becoming too just circles, right? You could do that too, but try to give them a little, like every shape. Try to make it different. It's okay if you have, because they're mostly round in a sense, but they're organic, so they're not perfectly like a perfect circle or a um, perfect circle. Actually, I have the rocks here. I should be looking at them, even though I'm not copying every single one of them. And I'm gonna go over with the Sharpie. Normally, you don't want to use a Sharpie. If you're already using a Sharpie, that's okay. Sharpies are permanent, and you won't be able to erase it. I did specify that I was using a Sharpie, so you can see it on your end. Um, but because the pencil's really hard to see, maybe you can tell a little bit, but it's really hard to see. Pencil is nice because it's easy to erase when you first doing the drawing. So some of the rocks are ellipses, kind of like horizontal, right? Some of them are vertical, or horizontal, vertical, and let's see. They're pretty much everywhere, even on the inside of this the inside shape, right? Because that's the water. We're trying to keep this area clear. The top one you'll see in a little bit. All right. Let me try to bring it up to the camera. So it's something simple to follow along. So this is our base. It is a clear base. It's a lot of rocks. Don't worry if it's not too perfect. I did some overlapping here, and it kind of looks sloppy, but I'm not gonna worry about it. When you're drawing things like this that are not perfect, the paint, you can correct it with the paint. This is just to give you an idea, right? So you can see that this part of our shape is clear, right? This part is the inside looking from the top, and these two little areas are see-through. So there's two tiny spaces that are clear as well. And don't worry about it too much, but let me bring it up to the camera. Also, you can watch this video at a later time if I'm kind of going too fast or you're having trouble, I guess, following along. You can always do your best to follow along, and then later on when the video is done, after a few minutes, it will be available to watch again with like playback features like pause, and you can turn off the comments and just kind of look at the image and things like that. But as you can see, you can do this with any plant that you have at home. So here's my vase, and now the reason why I chose this canvas vertical is because my plant is very long, it's very tall, and so I have like four bamboos that are taller, and then one that is small. And these are the kind that is tall. I guess there's a story about this bamboo. It almost died. I didn't know how to, I guess, care for it. And then this little small one survived when I started noticing, and I learned a little bit about caring for the bamboos. This was gifted to us from the press telegram before they left the building, and these little branches are the ones that survive after I'd change the vase, clear the water, and started learning how to care for them. You have to take care of the plants as well as, to keep them alive and things like that. Indoor plants are definitely, every plant is different. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna add one more stem. It kind of look like a bunch of lines, but I'm trying to make them a little bit thick. Maybe, let's see. So you can see right there. One of them is small, and I have 3 that are a little bit tall or taller. I'll use a Sharpie once I'm done with the bamboo. So these leaves they're kind of droopy, especially the small one. I don't know if it's gonna make it, but we'll see. But it makes interesting shapes. Kind of like looks like miniature palm trees because it's kind of tall. So when you're drawing, just think of the shapes. Try not to think so much of the object that you're painting because our mind tends to tell us that's not what it looks like, and our mind is like our biggest judge, and it turns a lot of people off because we have expectations, and that's not what this class is about. This is about having fun, enjoying the process. Having if you're not having fun, it's not it's not that's not the purpose. So don't worry. Like I said, it's not doesn't have to be too perfect. It may not even look like a bamboo plant, right? It may, if you're like a plant person, you may feel like, hey, there's something wrong with that plant. But if it looks beautiful as a painting, and we're not technical here. All right, so there's another part of the plant that's kind of like have a let's see. I'm gonna do a few more leaves. Let's see. So I'll show you in a minute, and then let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I have. Let's see. It's hard to see with this pencil, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just put it up for a little bit so you can see, and then I'm gonna do it with the Sharpie so you can see better. Let me put the lamp really close so you can see. All right. Now, time to go over it with the Sharpie. And don't worry if yours does not look like mine. It's okay. In fact, it's better if you have your own, expression and interpretation. So we're just kind of inspiring each other, right? So think of shapes. This little square right here is a leaf, but for some reason, the view that I have gives me this like just square because the leaf is going away from me, and it's really hard to interpret. I just went with simplicity and made it into a shape. So I'm doing the little sections. So ideally, you don't want to use a Sharpie at home. If you're comfortable with it, that's fine. But just understand that I'm using this for visual purposes because of the video. It's hard to see when I'm using pencil. But if you're at home, you can see your own pencil markings. That's what you want because pencil is easier to erase. So this bamboo has like my bamboo in particular has like the edges were trimmed off because they were dying, and um, so I'm trying to care for this plant so it could survive. Um, all right, this leaf has a really nice organic movement. And it's not like it feels like the bamboo it's kind of like, but it looks really nice. It doesn't look too healthy. I know it's if you're technical, but it looks really nice as far as like the painting, right? Or maybe it's just a different kind of bamboo. I'm not no expert, so whatever I say about the plant, don't worry about it. This is what we have. Okay, we're gonna paint this. And it should be fun. Oh, the other thing that I didn't do yet, let me do that. I'll do this. Um, I'll just go over the rocks. Um, over the rocks back with the image facing you, so you can have a reference. All I'm doing is just tracing the shapes. So there's just a bunch of river rocks bunched around. Um, there's the water line. All right, so I went over one of the sides, and I'm gonna do the other one. Again, I'm doing the Sharpie so you can see, but you're using pencil if you're watching at home. So this anybody can do. Anybody can do. Don't worry if yours is shorter, taller, wider. That's not important. That's actually good that yours is coming the way yours is coming out, and you're expressing your own. See, even right now, when I'm going over with the Sharpie, the rocks that I drew before, I'm not even copying them exactly. Like some of them I am, because they have a nice natural shape, and others I'm just kind of redoing or so. And also the challenge is like to stop ourselves from being judgmental. That is one of the biggest things that holds us back when we're doing art. Some folks already have their mindset of like, I'm not a good artist. They already have this judgment thing, and I can tell them that they are wrong. Like I can actually, if they were to follow along and trust the process, they will surprise themselves and see. And it's amazing what we can do when we kind of like transcend our own limitations that we somehow set on. And a lot of times people compare it to other people, and that's kind of like part of the problem. But so this is my drawing, right? Now I have to paint it. Um, so I'm gonna need like some kind of brownish for the rocks, brown, black, and then obviously green and yellow for the plant. Um, we'll get started. Then the background, I'm probably gonna do a dark background. Maybe I can do the shadow. So I'm gonna the shadow, the cast shadow. I'm gonna make it up just for fun. So the cast shadow on the base will probably, let's assume that. Okay, we're gonna assume that our sunlight's coming from this side. So then we're going to make a shadow. A cast shadow is the shadow that's on the ground or on the or wherever the object is setting. It could be the ground, the floor, the surface of the table, whatever. When you're walking and you see your own shadow on the ground, that's called a cast shadow. There's a bunch of terms for art. This one's gonna be long. If the shadows are longer, that light is kind of like, like the sunset, right? Like this, it's at an angle, at a lower angle. This is gonna be fun because you know what? I just thought about this. We can actually put like rocks on the shadow. It'll look pretty fun. It'll look like stained glass. I don't know if it's gonna work. If it doesn't, we'll just make it into a regular plant, I guess. I don't know if I should go over with the Sharpie. I'm gonna leave it in pencil because I'm not sure if that's gonna work. The rocks. Let me put it up close to the camera. But you see the shadow? I kind of added the rocks there just because it's see through. I may leave them because they kind of work. The more I look at it, so you know that's gonna be the shadow. Right? I don't have that here, that shadow. I'm just like imagining like if I had a really bright light and it was really translucent and you can see some of that. Anyways, we'll see how that works. So for now, guys, I'm gonna leave this here so you can copy the drawing, especially if you didn't have, you know, if you were following my actual drawing. Um, so I'm gonna set up my palette and I'm gonna try to paint as much as possible. Um, my camera usually goes for about an hour, uh, but I was having lighting issues earlier before I started, so it may cut off soon. If it cuts off soon, I'll just end the video and we'll continue another day. But for now, we're good. So bear with me, folks. I'm gonna grab my paints. If you need yellow, green, and brown, and white and black. If you're following exactly what I'm doing. If you have your own plan, you can make your own choice on your colors. So you can see I have yellow and green, and I'm gonna need a little bit of brown, white as well. All right, so it looks like I'm only gonna need one canvas after all. Maybe I'll do a separate set that's similar to this, but for now I'm gonna focus on this guy. All right, so you're gonna need like a couple of cups of water. Uh, I like to have about 3, just so that your brushes are always clean. A lot of times we use the same brush because it you know, you can. Let me see here. So I'll probably use maybe 3 different size of brushes, maybe like a half, maybe a quarter inch, quarter inch width, and then maybe this is probably half an inch and a quarter inch. All right, for this one, I don't need larger brushes. I'm gonna need a larger brush for the background, but I'm gonna do that later. Um, Let me see. I need a smaller one. Okay. So these are my brushes. I have half an inch, um, quarter inch, and then a really small one for the details. You don't have to have the same size, but you need like a small, medium, small, and then like a smaller one. Um, all right. So I'm gonna just go straight to the painting. All right, folks. So I wanted to mention that you can buy acrylic paint at the dollar store. I don't know how good it is, so I'm gonna try it out. Oh, by the way, we have art kits for sale at the gallery for the arts and crafts folks. I think Tony talked about it in the prior video. If you want to do sculptures, check out the other videos, and you can get an art kit from us if you're interested in that. Right? Just wanted to put that out there. So I'm mixing a little bit of yellow and green. I want to create a yellow green. Let me see if I have a color wheel. Actually, I know I have one. Yep, right here. So you don't need to have one of these, but if you have a color wheel, you can make it one. But we have colors, right? We have red, green, yellow, and blue, right? Actually, my bad. So we have blue, red, and yellow. Those are the three primary colors. And from those three colors, we mix them gradually and we get different colors. Have 50-50 yellow and red makes orange. And 50-50 yellow and blue makes green. And 50-50 red and blue makes violet. And then if you use the violet and the blue 50-50, then you have blue violet. As an example, right? So for what I want to do, I need like a yellow green. I need this color right here. So you make that by mixing green with yellow, about 50-50. So then your green is more on the yellow side, and that's why it's called yellow uh, yellow green. Just maybe you already know this, but um, you can gradually add more of the yellow, right? All right, folks. So I'm gonna turn this my way so I can see what I'm doing here. So all the leaves are green for the most part with the little dashes of yellow, and I'll add those on. So right now we're just kind of coloring. It doesn't have to be too perfect. All right, I'm just using the acrylic paint. And then if you mix on the palette, you get this nice cool effect. Like I added a highlight of yellow and just kind of mix it on the palette itself as you're painting. Like try not to scrub and mix in there. It's just kind of keep your brush marks in the same direction and just throw in like for instance, let's say like little highlights of yellow. All right, just a few of them to illustrate the difference because the plant is not the same green all the way through, right? In fact, it's more on the like some of them are lighter and others are darker. So there you go. So we're just coloring right now, and we're using green and yellow. All right, folks. And if you chose a different plant and you're getting frustrated, don't worry. Think of shapes. Remember Picasso? Picasso just painted shapes at some point, right? With the Cubism style that he and others developed. And those folks could actually paint like realistic, but I guess they got bored of that or wanted to do something different. And that's good to do. If you ever want to have a little fun with the Picasso, you can recreate some of his paintings. And it's good because you feel like, hey, there's look all like different perspectives. It doesn't look real. And so you're not too judgmental of yourself when you're doing something like that. It's kind of like you have freedom to create a different view on reality. Those are good exercises for the mind as well. Actually, folks, I'm using the quarter inch brush. So whatever brush you're using, that's fine. Just try to use one that's gonna give you more surface to, it's gonna help you color better, but also not go too much over the drawing. So like if this was a mural, right, I'll be using huge brushes or rollers or things like that, right? So it's just coloring. This is just coloring and nothing more than that at this point, right? And if you don't have a canvas and you're doing this on a piece of paper or cardboard, that's okay too. There are papers that are good for painting on, like cardboard paper, poster board, things like that. If you're using cardboard, you probably want to paint it white, like before. Um, well, just because the white under helps the color be a little bit bright. Because when you paint light, some of that white from underneath comes through, and that's what you see here. All right, so I actually eliminated more. Like I have about maybe more leaves on the actual plant, but I'm not worried about being too realistic. In fact, I can add some plants. Oh, and I'm gonna do that with the smaller brush actually. The smaller brush, because they're right in between the plant. There's like super tiny ones. So I'm gonna use my smaller brush and just kind of randomly make these lines. This brush is too fine and I need more paint. Okay, so just to create the illusion of like more leaves. Let's see, they usually come off the stem. This brush is too soft on the front, so I need something that doesn't move too much. Okay, let's try this. And if your brush doesn't seem like it's helping you, switch up brushes. Sometimes different brushes have different. The hairs have a different capacity, and they bend faster, or they're more brittle. So always be mindful of your materials too. Sometimes you may feel frustrated, and you may be using a tough like tool. Okay, so we're just gonna color the stems. So I'm gonna try to cover as much of the Sharpie that I can. At least yours shouldn't have any like black lines unless you actually drew with a Sharpie like me or something, or some, like a darker pencil or pen. But pencil is always better because you can always correct your initial drawing. But like I said, this one's more on the expressive side. Okay, let me turn this around so you can see what we have. There you go. All right. All right. So doesn't look that bad, right? I mean, it's in progress. I gotta paint the rocks, and a lot of times folks paint the background first, you know. But I'm gonna do something light. I don't know if I'll do blue or. I wanted to do black because when I had this plant and I had a black drapery behind it, it looked really cool. So at the end we're gonna paint this black. Uh, it's gonna be a little challenging because we're gonna have to come in here, but it's okay. We'll take our time with that, and that's gonna be at the end. But for now, maybe we can stop here. Let me see how much battery I have. Um, let me see how much battery I have. All right, folks. So I have a few more minutes. I have a few more minutes. The rocks, they're kind of like white, beige, and black. So the rocks are not going to be any. You can make them color if you want. You can make them like rainbow and do something different, right? That's okay too. I'm going to try to use this as a reference and see how it goes, right? I'm going to go with like white, off-white, grayish, and kind of like more earth colors. And if I don't like that, I'll just switch it up and make my own. But I'm gonna try to do that. So for I'm gonna need white, a little bit of white. All right, a little bit of white, a little bit of brown, and black, just to paint those rocks. A little bit of brown. All right, so there's different kinds of bamboos, right? This one is kind of like tall actually, and it's very thin. Um, I heard that sometimes they get longer if they're away from the sun, and maybe that's what's happening to this guy. All right, I have a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white, um, black. Oh, brown. I needed brown. Yes, brown. Not sure if I'm gonna need the yellow, but I probably use highlights of that. Another thing I didn't mention is that the acrylic paint, make sure you don't get it on your clothes. You already know if you're painted before. If you do get it on your clothes, just dry it really um, right away or wash it. Otherwise, it's going to be permanent. Um, but acrylic paint is good paint. It dries pretty good, but it's permanent. All right. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna stick with that first brush, that 1/4. Sometimes you may not need all the brushes, right? Depending on what you're doing. Let me see how it works out with this one. No, okay, not bad. So I'll use the bigger one just for one color. So randomly, so while I have this beige color, I'm painting random rocks. Uh, you know, then I'll switch up the color and continue the pattern. So it kind of looks like variety of shapes. I mean colors or tones. There's a whole bunch of technical terms, and I haven't been using them lately. So if you're an art person, you probably know. Um, so black and white are not colors. A lot of folks are surprised to find out that in the arts, black and white are not colors. They're tones and shades. Shades are is the term for the darker or the grays and from dark to gray, and then white. Um, the colors start to get whiter, or with more mixture of white, it becomes a tone. Um, all right, that's too boring. Huh? The technical part. Let's just paint. But if you're interested in that, check out a book from the library, or you can Google. It's kind of nice to know if you often talk with other artists and you want to have the same vocabulary. It helps. So just to communicate, like any other profession, right? Like if you're an engineer, then you know what you have to communicate a certain language. If you're a scientist, it's kind of the same idea. Otherwise, it's kind of like a little more challenging too. All right. The only thing I didn't bring out was my black paint. Yeah, that's what I'm missing. Well, let me add more. Oh yeah, some of the I forgot that some of the rocks are almost white, or like I added a hint of yellow, um, but yellow's too strong, so be careful. All right. Well, it's because the canvas is already white, right? So if you want, okay, let's not think about this too much. Trying to color them. We'll paint our background another day. Black is very if you pour a lot of black on your palette, you'll probably have a lot of it left over. Unless you're painting, like the background, then you're gonna need plenty of that. Um, All right, so I'm gonna do like some rocks are gray or dark gray. Oh yeah, this is looking really cool, I think, just because there's variety. And actually leaving leaving some of the rocks um, blank works too. You know, it's up to you how how much you want to color those rocks, but if it looks nice to you, remember you're painting for yourself. You're not painting. I mean, unless you're gonna give your painting away, but still, you're still painting for yourself. And so don't worry. No one's gonna judge you. At least not me. And if someone judges you, don't take it personal. It's their own experience with the image and their world. But if it makes you happy, if you like it, that's the goal, right? That's the goal. If someone wants to hire you to paint something, and then you have to, kind of paint, with that in mind. But right now we're painting for fun. So we're gonna stop here, guys. Let me bring this closer, right? So here's the rocks. See, they're raw. They're not necessarily too. Um, I may just erase the shadow, and I don't know. I kind of like the white background. Now, now the more I look at it, maybe I'll probably do another one similar to this with a black background and see what like the two how they play off each other. So this is it, folks. I hope you enjoyed the class. Let me zoom in a little bit. Here you go. Here you go. So you can see and see it's not like complicated. It's just simple shapes and just little details like leaving this two shapes white and the little triangle here and the little triangle there. You leave those white and it creates the illusion of a glass vase. And leaving a lot of the blank spaces also gives an illusion of a clear vase. There are other tricks to give the illusion of water, but we won't really talk about those today. That's a little more advanced stuff. So here, let me see. Move the camera now. Bring it up. Okay. So here you go, folks. I hope you enjoy the class. I'll leave this here a little bit more so you can see and copy. If you have your own plans, like I said, don't worry about how it's if it's not doesn't look exactly like your image. Don't worry, mine does not look exactly like my image. In fact, I'll show you see, mine looks a little bit darker in person. Okay, so don't worry about that too much. So I'm gonna leave the contact info there, and I'm gonna end this video in a minute or two. I'm trying to get it off the image. There you go. If you have any questions, you wanna questions about the class or things like that, feel free to call. That's my contact info. those stickers are for donation if people, can. It's not required. That's not why we do this. Um, but when we open the gallery, we'll announce it in the in our Facebook page, and you will be able to attend. We don't have a start or opening date. I know folks are getting vaccinated, but not everybody is. I'm not vaccinated, so I'm not opening anything on my end. Um, so I know that as a gallery, we're following the CDC guidelines, and our main goal is to continue to keep everybody safe or do our share. And that's it, folks. There's more videos. If you go to our Facebook page, there are a lot of videos. There's music videos. Follow along for beginners mostly, and there's art classes. You follow along. They're live streamed, so they're not edited. They're not gonna be like entertaining in the sense like time lapse. They're more intended to follow along. So you can play back. I mean, you can fast forward and kind of get an idea of what, kind of like stop and pause and rewind and things like that and follow along. Um, all right, folks. So I hope you enjoy the video. My name is Efren Luna with the Cultural Alliance of Long Beach and with art, music, and culture. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of your community, and hopefully we'll see you soon. But we'll continue doing the Facebook video streams every week. Take care.